Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I am here to bring you a battle between the Core Set 2020 Planeswalker decks, which we have assembled here in their 5 colors, and the Face the Hydra challenge deck from Theros. We'll be playing with hero cards for each of the players. They will all have their own color-specific hero cards. So we have the Avenger here, which says pay 3, tap target creature you control gains death touch until end of turn. We have the Warrior here, which says tap target creature you control gains haste until end of turn. The Hunter over there, which says tap target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. The Protector there, which says tap prevent 1 damage to target creature or player. And the Philosopher, which says 2 tap target creature. We also have the Harvester, which we will be sharing between all of the decks because I only have 1 copy of each card. And it says tap, draw a card, then discard a card. So whenever this taps, then every player will draw and then discard. We'll be playing on normal difficulty first with 3 Hydra heads, and then we'll be playing on hard mode with 4 Hydra heads. We'll all start by drawing 7 cards apiece. Soren draws a Swamp, a Bloodthirsty Aerialist, a Soren's Thirst, a Swamp, a Swamp, a Swamp, and a Swamp. That's too many swamps. We're gonna ship this back and try for a better hand. Because this is multiplayer, we get 1 free mulligan. Soren draws a Swamp, a Bloodthirsty Aerialist, a Swamp, Soren's Thirst, Swamp, and Swamp. This is the exact same hand. We're gonna ship it back and try for 6. Soren draws a Swamp, a Savage Gorger, a Swamp, a Blood Burglar, and a Savage Gorger. This is much better keep because at least we have 3 different cards that we can cast, and all of which we can cast with our Swamp. So we'll take the Swamp that we don't need and stick it at the bottom. Chandra draws. Chandra gets a Mountain, a Wildfire Elemental, a Chandra's Flame Wave, a Mountain, and a Scorch Spitter. This is not a great hand because of the very expensive cards that are in it. However, the Scorch Spitter I think is enough to give us hope, so we will keep it. Vivian draws a Forest, a Barkhide Troll, a Gnarlback Rhino, a Silverback Shaman, a Rabid Bite, and a Might of the Masses. This is a little light on lands, but I think we can try to keep this anyways, and we'll just try to loot into what we need. Ajani draws a Plains, an Agent of Vitality, a Savannah Sage, a Plains, and a Daybreak Chaplain. I think this is a fine hand to keep. Mu Yanling draws an Island, a Winged Words, Mu Yanling Celestial Wind Island, Yanling's Harbinger, Brineborn Cutthroat, and Air Elemental. I think this is also a fine hand to keep, so we will do so. Because this is multiplayer, we'll draw on the first turn. Soren draws a Vampire Opportunist and will play a Swamp, and Soren will pass the turn. Chandra will draw a Wildfire Elemental, will play a Mountain, will tap the Mountain and play a Scorch Spitter, and then Chandra will pass the turn. Vivian will draw a Season of Growth, will play a Forest, and then Vivian will pass the turn. Ajani will draw a Goldmane Griffin, will play a Plains, and Ajani will pass the turn. Yanling draws an Island, will play the Island, and Yanling will pass the turn. It's now the Hydra's turn. The Hydra will cast the topmost card. It is Noxious Hydra Breath. Choose 1. Noxious Hydra Breath deals 5 damage to each player or destroy each tapped non-head creature. There are no tapped non-head creatures, so we'll go ahead and choose to destroy each tapped non-head creature. Then each player will take 3 to go to 17 apiece. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Soren will draw a Gravewaker and will discard the Vampire Opportunist. Chandra will draw a Pyroclastic Elemental and will discard a Wildfire Elemental. Vivian will draw a Forest and will discard the Might of the Masses. Ajani will draw a Plains and will discard a Savannah Sage. Yanling will draw a Riddlemaster Sphinx and will discard Wu Yanling Celestial Wind. Then we'll untap. Then we'll draw. Soren draws a Savage Gorger. Chandra draws a Shock. Vivian draws a Forest. Ajani draws a Plains. Yanling draws an Island. Soren will play a Swamp, will tap both Swamps and play a Blood Burglar. Chandra will play a Mountain. Vivian will play a Forest. Vivian will tap both Forests and play a Barkhide Troll. Ajani will play a Plains, will tap both Plains and play a Daybreak Chaplain. It's a 1/3 Human Cleric with lifelink. Yanling will play an Island. The Blood Burglar is a 2/2 Vampire Rogue. As long as it's your turn, Blood Burglar has lifelink. The Scorch Spitter is a 1/1 elemental lizard. Whenever Scorch Spitter attacks, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. And the Barkhide Troll is a 2/2 troll. Barkhide Troll enters the battlefield with +1/+1 counter on it. For 1, you can remove a +1/+1 counter from Barkhide Troll. Barkhide Troll gains hexproof until end of turn. We'll pass the turn to the Hydra. The Hydra will cast the topmost card. This is a Unified Lunge. Unified Lunge deals X damage to each player, where X is the number of heads on the battlefield. So we'll take 3 damage from the assembled heads, and then we'll take another 3 damage from the heads again to take 6 damage to go to 11 each. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester again. Sorin draws a Swamp, and Sorin will discard a Savage Gorger. Chandra draws a Mountain, and will discard the Shock. Vivian draws a Vivian Nature's Avenger, and will discard the Vivian Nature's Avenger. Ajani draws a Plains, and will discard the Plains. Ajani will also prevent 1 damage that was directed at him to go back up to 12. Mu will draw a Warden of Evo's Isle, and will discard the Winged Words. And then at the end of the turn, Yanling will cast the Brineborn Cutthroat. It is a 2/1 Merfolk Pirate with Flash. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Brineborn Cutthroat. Then we'll untap. We'll draw. Sorin draws a Thirsting Bloodlord. Chandra draws a Mountain. Vivian draws a Vivian's Crocodile. Ajani draws a Plains. Yanling draws an Island. Sorin will play a Swamp. Sorin will tap 3 mana and play a Savage Gorger. It is a 1/1 vampire with flying at the beginning of your end step. If an opponent lost life this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Savage Gorger. Chandra plays a Mountain. Vivian plays a Forest. Vivian will spend 3 mana and play Vivian's Crocodile. It is a 3/3 Crocodile Spirit. Vivian's Crocodile gets +1/+1 as long as you control a Vivian Planeswalker. Ajani plays a Plains. Will tap 3 and play Angel of Vitality. It is a 2/2 Angel with flying. If you gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. Angel of Vitality gets +2/+2 as long as you have 25 or more life. Yanling plays an Island. Will tap 3 and play Warden of Evo's Isle. It is a 2/2 Bird Wizard with flying. Creature spells with flying you cast cost 1 less to cast. We will go on the attack. The Blood Burglar will attack 1 of the Hydra heads. The Scorch Spitter will attack another Hydra head, and it'll deal 1 damage immediately. The Barkhide Troll will attack the last Hydra head. The Daybreak Chaplain will join the Blood Burglar in attacking its Hydra head. The Brineborn Cutthroat will join in attacking the Scorch Spitter's Hydra head. All 3 Hydra heads die, and each player will gain 6 life in 2 life increments. Sorin will get 2 extra life for 8 life, taking him to 19 because of the lifelink on the Blood Burglar. Chandra goes to 17. Vivian goes to 17. Ajani gains 3 life apiece from the Angel of Vitality, so that would be 9 life, plus 2 life from the Daybreak Chaplain for 11 life to go up to 23. Yanling gains 6 life to go back up to 17. Now we reveal 6 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are 2 new heads, 1 Ravenous Brute head and 1 Hydra head. We will pass the turn to the Hydra. The Hydra casts the topmost card, which is a Hydra head. There are now 3 Hydra heads on the battlefield. They'll deal 4 damage to each player. That'll take Sorin down to 15. Chandra will go down to 13. Vivian will go down to 13. Ajani will prevent 1 of that damage to only take 3 damage to go back down to 20. Yanling will go down to 13. Then we'll use the Harvester. Sorin will draw a Swamp and will bin a Savage Gorger. Chandra will draw a Mountain and will bin a Mountain. Vivian will draw a Forest and we'll bin the Rabid Bite. Ajani will draw Plains and bin the Plains. Yanling will draw an Island and will bin the Island. We'll untap. We'll draw. Sorin draws the Dread Peasants. Chandra draws a Chandra's Outrage. Vivian draws a Wakefruit Elemental. Ajani draws the Pacifism. Yanling draws a Spectral Sailor. Sorin will play a Swamp, and Sorin will tap all 4 mana and play the Thirsting Bloodlord. It is a 3/3 vampire. Other vampires you control get +1/+1. That's both of these, making this a 3/3 and a 2/2. Chandra will play a Mountain. Chandra will spend 4 mana and play a Wildfire Elemental. It is a 3/3 elemental. Whenever an opponent is dealt non-combat damage, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. We'll tap the Warrior to give it haste. Vivian will play a Forest and will spend 4 mana to play the Gnarlback Rhino. It is a 4/4 Rhino with trample. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Gnarlback Rhino, draw a card. Johnny will play a Plains. Yanling will play an island. We'll go to attacks. Soren will attack one Hydra head with a Blood Burglar. Chandra will attack a Hydra head with a Wildfire Elemental. Vivian will attack the Brute head with the Crocodile. Ajani will attack that Brute head with the Daybreak Chaplain. And Yanling will attack the Brute head with the Brineborn Cutthroat. That's enough damage to kill all the heads. Each player will gain 6 life in 3 chunks and will draw a card. Soren will gain 9 life because of the Blood Burglar and will go to 24. And Soren will draw a Vampire Opportunist. Chandra will gain 6 life and go back up to 19 and will draw a Chandra Spitfire. Vivian will gain 6 life to go up to 19 and will draw a Greenwood Sentinel. Ajani will gain 11 life because of the Chaplain and the Vitality's ability to go up to 31. That makes the Angel of Vitality a 4/4 and will draw a Plains. Yanling will go up to 19 and will draw a Waterkin Shaman. We'll reveal 6 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are no new heads, and so the Core Set 2020 Planeswalker decks defeat the Hydra. We'll be right back with Hard Mode. We are back for Hard Mode. We have 4 Hydra heads on the battlefield, and we'll start with 7 cards apiece. Soren draws a Savage Gorger, Swamp, 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 Soren's Guide, Bloodthirsty Aerialist, and a Swamp. It's not ideal, but hopefully we can get into something with the Bloodthirsty Aerialist. Chandra draws a Shock, a Mountain, a Shock, a Shivan Dragon, a Pyroclastic Elemental, a Mountain, and Pack Mastiff. We're going to keep this on the strength of the Pack Mastiff and hope that it gets us there. Vivian draws a Growth Cycle, a Titanic Growth, Rabid Bite, Greenwood Sentinel, Vivian's Crocodile Forest, and Might of the Masses. 1 land is not good enough to keep. We'll use our free mulligan. We get a Forest, Growth Cycle, Barkhide Troll, Forest, Greenwood Sentinel, Forest, and Rabid Bite. I think this is fine. We will keep it. Johnny draws a Fencing Ace, Savannah Sage, Goldmane Griffin, Plains, 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 and Plains. I think this is fine. Not ideal, but fine. Yanling draws a Spectral Sailor, Winged Words, Frostlings, Cloud Concealer, Air Elemental, Island, and Celestial Messenger. 1 land is not good enough to keep. We will try again with our free mulligan. Yanling draws a Warden of Yuzal, Island, Island, Winged Words, Island, Warden of Yuzal, and Unsummoned. I think this is fine. We will keep it. Turn 1, Soren will play a Swamp. Chandra will play a Mountain. Vivian will play a Forest. Johnny will play a Plains. Yanling will play an Island. We'll pass the turn to the Hydra. The Hydra will cast the topmost card, which is Neck Tangle. If there are 5 or more heads on the battlefield, that's not true. Otherwise, reveal the top card of the Hydra's library and the Hydra casts that card. This is a Grown from the Stump. Put exactly 2 cards named Hydra head onto the battlefield. If you can't reveal cards from the top of the Hydra's library until you reveal a head card, put that card onto the battlefield and the rest in the Hydra's graveyard. There's another Hydra head. The Hydra will deal 5 damage to each player, taking them to 15. Ajani will use Protector to reduce the damage by 1, to go down to 16 instead. At the end of the Hydra's turn, we'll use the Harvester. Soren will draw a Swamp and will discard the Savage Gorger. Chandra will draw a Mountain and will discard a Shock. Vivian will draw a Forest and will discard a Growth Cycle. Johnny will draw a Savannah Sage and we will discard a Plains. Yanling will draw an Island and we will discard the Island. Back to our turn, we'll untap. We'll draw. Soren draws a Blood Burglar. Chandra draws a Mountain. Vivian draws a Silverback Shaman. Johnny draws a Plains. Yanling draws a Frostlings. Soren will play a Swamp, will tap both of the Swamps and play a Blood Burglar. Chandra plays a Mountain, will tap both and play a Pack Mastiff. It is a 2/2 Hound, and for 1 in red, each creature you control named Pack Mastiff gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Vivian plays a Forest, and will tap them and play a Barkhide Troll. It is a 3/3 Troll, we've seen it before, gets countered. Johnny plays a Plains, will tap both and play a Fencing Ace. It is a 1/1 Human Soldier with Double Strike. Yanling will play an Island, and that'll be it. Pass the turn to the Hydra. He'll cast the topmost card, which is Grown from the Stump. We don't have cards named Hydra Head in the battlefield, so we will look for the next head card and put it on the battlefield. There's another Hydra Head. Each player will take 6 damage to go to 9 each. Johnny will use a Protector to take 5 and go to 11. We'll use the Harvester at the end of the turn. Soren will draw a swamp and will discard the swamp. Chandra will draw a shock and discard the shock. Vivian will draw a forest and will discard the forest. Johnny will draw plains and discard the plains. Ling will draw frostlings and will discard a frostlings. And we'll go to our turn. We'll untap. We'll draw. Soren draws a vampire opportunist. Chandra draws a mountain. Vivian draws a Vivian's crocodile. Johnny draws an impassioned orator. Ling draws a celestial messenger. Soren plays a swamp. We'll tap all 3 of these and play a bloodthirsty aerialist. It is a 2/3 flying vampire rogue, and whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on the aerialist. Chandra will play a mountain. Vivian will play a forest. We'll tap all 3 and play Vivian's crocodile. We've seen that before. Johnny will play a plains. We'll tap 2 and play the Impassioned Order. It's a 2/2 human cleric. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Then we'll play an island. We'll tap 3 and we will play Warden of the Evo's Isle. We'll attack 1 head with a Blood Burglar. We'll attack another head with a Pack Mastiff, pumping it to make it a 3/2. We'll attack another head with a Barkhide Troll. We'll attack the same head as a Blood Burglar with the Fencing Ace. 3 heads go down. We'll gain 6 life each, and Soren will gain 8 life to go back up to 19, and we gained life 4 times, so the aerialist will get 4 +1/+1 counters. And now we'll reveal 6 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are 2 new heads. We'll pass the turn to the Hydra. The Hydra will cast the topmost card, which is Swallow the Hero Whole. Each player exiles a creature he or she controls until the Hydra's next turn. When a head leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. We'll exile the Blood Burglar, the Pack Mastiff, the Barkhide Troll, the Fencing Ace, the Warden of Evo's Isle. Each player will take 5 damage to go down to 10, with the exception of Soren, who will go down to 14, and a Johnny, who will prevent 1 damage to go down to 14. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Soren will draw a Vampire Opportunist and discard a Swamp. Chandra will draw a Mountain and discard a Shock. Vivian will draw a Forest, and we will discard the Forest. Johnny will draw a Plains, and we will discard the Plains. Ling will draw an Island, and we will discard the Frostlings. We'll untap. We'll draw. Soren draws a Swamp. Chandra draws a Scorch Spitter. Vivian draws a Forest. Johnny draws a Savannah Sage. Ling draws an Island. Soren will play the Swamp. We'll tap everything and play both Vampire Opportunists. Chandra will play the Mountain. We'll tap 1 and we'll play the Scorch Spitter. Vivian will play a Forest, and Vivian will spend 2 mana to cast a Greenwood Sentinel. Johnny will play a Plains. We'll tap all the mana to cast 2 Savannah Sages. They're both 2/2 cat clerics, and when they enter the battlefield, we'll gain 2 life, so that's 4 life to take us to 18. Ling will play 1 island, and we'll hold for a second. We'll go to attacks. The Bloodthirsty Aerialist will attack 1 Hydra head. We'll tap the Warrior to give the Scorch Spitter haste and attack another Hydra head. We'll attack another Hydra head with the Crocodile. The Orator should have triggered twice on the Savannah Sages, going up to 20. And then the Orator will join the Scorch Spitter to attack its Hydra head. That will kill 3 Hydra heads. And that will gain us 6 life each over 3 heads. This will cause Soren to go up to 20, and we'll gain 3 more counters on the Bloodthirsty Aerialist, taking it to 7 counters. Most of the other players will go to 16. Johnny will go to 26. Then we'll return all the cards from exile. Soren gets the Blood Burglar back. Chandra gets the Pack Mastiff back. Vivian gets the Barkhide Troll back. It gets a counter. Johnny gets the Fencing Ace back and gets 1 life from the Impassioned Orator to go up to 27. Ling gets the Warden of Evo's Isle back, reducing the cost of its other flying creatures by 1. We will spend 2 mana to cast another Warden of Evo's Isle, and then we will spend another 2 mana to cast the Wing Words, which is sorcery. This spell costs 1 less if you control a creature with flying, which we do, and draw 2 cards. Ling draws a Island and a Warden of Evo's Isle. We should have revealed 6 cards to see if there are any new heads before that. We have a Savage Figurehead, which says at the beginning of the Hydra's end step, reveal the top card of the Hydra's library, and the Hydra cast that card, and a regular Hydra head. Then we'll go to the Hydra's turn. They'll cast the topmost card, which is Disorienting Glower. Players can't cast spells until the Hydra's next turn. And then the Savage Figurehead will cause another card to be cast, which is the same exact card. So there is no casting of spells until the Hydra's next turn. We will each take 5 damage, sending Soren back down to 15. Everybody else will go back down to 11, except for Johnny, who will use the Protector and will only go down to 23. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Soren draws a Soren's Thirst and will discard the Soren's Thirst. Chandra draws a Mountain and will discard a Mountain. Vivian draws a Forest and will discard a Forest. Johnny draws a Dawning Angel and will discard a Savannah Sage. Yenling draws an Island and will discard an Island. We'll untap. We'll draw. Soren draws a Swamp. Chandra draws a Scorch Spitter. Vivian draws a Growth Cycle. Johnny draws a Plains. Yenling draws a Spectral Sailor. We'll play a Swamp. We'll play a Mountain. We'll play a Forest. We'll play a Plains. Play an Island, and then we'll attack. The Aerialist will go at the Savage Figurehead, and the Blood Burglar will go at a regular Hydra head. The Scorched Spitter will join the Blood Burglar at the regular head, and we'll send the Barkhide Troll and the Vivian's Crocodile at the remaining 2 heads. That'll kill every head. We'll gain 10 life off of 4 life gain triggers and draw 1 card each. That'll take Soren to 25 plus 2 off the Blood Burglar to 27 life. And that is 5 triggers, so that will add 5 counters to the Bloodthirsty Aerialist, taking it to 12 counters. Most of the other players will gain 10 life to go to 21 each. Johnny will go to 33. We'll reveal 8 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are 2 new heads. We have a Shrieking Titan head. At the beginning of the Hydra's end step, each player discards a card. And the Ravenous Brute head. Can't cast any spells, so we'll pass to the Hydra. They'll cast the topmost card. Disorienting Glower. Players can't cast spells until the Hydra's next turn. Each player will take 4 damage, and we will each discard a card. Soren discards the Swamp and goes down to 23. Chandra discards the Scorch Spitter and will go down to 17. Vivian discards the Growth Cycle and goes down to 17. Johnny discards the Dawning Angel. We'll use Protector to only lose 3 life to go down to 30. Yenling will discard the Unsummoned and go down to 17. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Soren will draw a Swamp and discard the Swamp. Chandra will draw an Ember Hauler and discard the Ember Hauler. Vivian will draw a Titanic Growth and we will discard the Titanic Growth. Johnny will draw an Impassioned Orator and will discard the Impassioned Orator. Yenling will draw an Island and will discard the Island. We'll untap. We'll draw. Soren draws a Savage Forger. Chandra draws a Mountain. We'll play the Mountain. Vivian draws a Forest. We'll play the Forest. Johnny draws a Fencing Ace. Yenling draws an Island. We'll play the Island. We'll go to attacks. We will attack the Shrieking Titan head with the Blood Burglar, and we'll use 3 mana here to give it Death Touch with the Avenger. Chandra will attack the Ravenous Brute head with the Scorch Spitter and the Pack Mastiff and pump it 3 times for lethal. That kills both of these heads for 6 life and 2 cards over 2 triggers. The Blood Burglar adds another 2 for 8 life for Soren, who goes up to 31. And we'll draw 2 cards. Soren draws a Bloodthirsty Aerialist and a Swamp. And the 3 triggers will get this up to plus 15. Most players will get 6 life to go to 23. Johnny will go to 36. And we'll reveal 4 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are 2 new Ravenous Brute heads. We will pass the turn to the Hydra. The Disorienting Glower wears off. The Hydra will cast the topmost card. It's Nectangle. If there are 5 or more heads, nope. Otherwise, reveal the top card of the Hydra's library and the Hydra casts that card. It's Swallow the Hero Whole. Each player exiles a creature he or she controls, and we'll do this again. We'll exile a Vampire Opportunist, a Scorch Spitter, a Greenwood Sentinel, a Savannah Sage, and a Warden of the Evil Sow. Each player will take 4 damage from the heads. That'll take Soren down to 27. Most of the players will go down to 19. Ajani will prevent 1 damage to himself and only go down to 33. We'll use the Harvester at the end of the turn. Soren draws a Savage Gorger and will discard the Savage Gorger. Chandra draws a Mountain and discards the Mountain. Vivian draws a Silverback Shaman and will discard the Rabid Bite. Ajani draws a Daybreak Chaplain and will discard the Fencing Ace. Yanling draws an Air Elemental, discards the Island. We'll untap. We'll draw. Soren draws a Soren Vampire Lord. Chandra draws a Wildfire Elemental. Vivian draws a Vivian Nature's Avenger. Ajani draws a Dawning Angel. Yanling draws a Winged Words. We'll attack again. Bloodthirsty Aerialist will attack 1 Ravenous Broodhead. Ajani will attack the other with his creatures. That kills both Ravenous Broodheads. Each player will gain 4 life over 2 triggers and will draw 2 cards. That takes Soren up to 31, and Soren will draw 2 cards. The first one is a Murder, and the second one is a Swamp. Most players will go up to 23. Ajani will go up to 37. Creatures will return from exile. Soren gets a Vampire Opportunist. Chandra gets a Scorch Spitter. Vivian gets a Greenwood Sentinel. Ajani gets a Savannah Sage. That will trigger Savannah Sage and the Impassioned Orator to get 3 life to take Ajani up to 40. Yanling gets a Warden of Evil's Isle. We'll reveal 4 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are 2 new heads, the Hydra head and the Ravenous Brood head. We'll play a Swamp over here. We'll spend 6 mana and cast Soren Vampire Lord, a 6 mana Planeswalker with 4 loyalty. For +1 up to 1 target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. For -2/4, Soren Vampire Lord deals 4 damage to any target. You gain 4 life and -8 until end of turn. Each vampire you control gains tap. Gain control of target creature. Will +1 him and give something +2/+0. Chandra plays a Mountain and will tap 6. Play the Shivan Dragon, a 6/6 dragon with flying, and for 1 red mana gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Vivian taps 6 and plays Vivian Nature's Avenger, a 6 mana Vivian Planeswalker with 3 loyalty for +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature, -1. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And then -6 target creature gains +10/+10 and trample until end of turn. We'll +1 her to 4 loyalty and then put 3 +1/+1 counters on the Barkhide Troll, making it a 6/6. Ajani will spend 5 mana and cast the Goldmane Griffin. It is a 3/2 with flying and vigilance, and when it enters the battlefield we can find Ajani in the deck and put it into our hand. There he is. We'll shuffle. Yanling will spend 1 mana to cast another Warden because of the discount for these Wardens, and then we'll spend 2 mana to cast Celestial Messenger because of the discount from the 3 Wardens, and we'll spend 2 more mana to cast Air Elemental because of the discount. And we might as well spend 1 more mana to cast the Spectral Sailor. We'll pass to the Hydra. The Hydra will cast the topmost card. That is grown from the stump. We'll put 2 heads named Hydra Head onto the battlefield from the Hydra's graveyard. The assembled heads will do 5 damage to each player. That'll take Soren down to 26. Most of the players will go down to 18 each. Ajani will stop 1 of that damage and go down to 36 instead. At the end of the turn, we will use the Harvester. Soren will draw a Vampire of the Dire Moon and will discard the Savage Gorger. Chandra will draw a Pyroclastic Elemental and will discard a Wildfire Elemental. Vivian will draw a Silverback Shaman and discard a Silverback Shaman. Ajani will draw an Angel of Vitality and discard the Daybreak Chaplain. Yanling will draw an Island and discard the Island. We'll untap. We'll draw. Soren draws a Swamp. We'll play the Swamp. Chandra draws a Mountain. We'll play the Mountain. Vivian draws a Season of Growth. Ajani draws a Goldmane Griffin. Yanling draws an Island. We'll play the Island. We will tick up Soren to 6 and then give the Blood Burglar +2/+0. We'll send the Blood Burglar in at 1 of the heads. Chandra will send the Shivan Dragon in at the Ravenous Brute head. Vivian will tick up and put 3 counters on the Crocodile and send that in at one of the heads. Johnny will attack ahead with the Goldmane Griffin. That'll kill all the remaining heads for 8 life for each player and 1 card over 4 triggers. 5 triggers of life gain over here for 10 life for Soren, taking him up to 36. And drawing 1 card, which is the Thirsting Bloodlord. Most players will gain 8 life to go to 26 each. But Johnny will go up to 44, and then we'll reveal 8 cards to see if there are any new heads. There's 1 head left in the deck, a Snapping Fang head. Soren will cast Murder and kill it, finishing it off, and finally giving the Core Set 2020 Planeswalker decks the victory after a very long and grueling battle. Wow, that took a long time. We went through the entire deck. This gives the Planeswalker decks victories back to back against Face the Hydra challenge deck. Let me know what your thoughts were about the games in the comments below. If I made any gameplay or rules errors, also let me know so that I can learn from your wisdom. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more such videos, hit subscribe. Next time, I'll be pitting these Planeswalker decks against the Battle of the Horde challenge deck from Born of the Gods. Until then, this was Refresh, and thanks for watching.